Most people today, when they hear the name Ra, think of nothing more than a myth, an image from ancient Egypt, or perhaps a golden figure in a history book. To most, Ra is simply the sun god, a relic of the past. But to the sages of Kemet, Ra was not just the sun. He was the principle behind the sun. He was not only worshipped as a shining disk in the sky, but understood as the living essence of consciousness itself. Ra is described in the earliest creation myths as self-generated. Unlike other deities who were born from the union of primordial forces, Ra emerged on his own, a burst of brilliance rising from the endless waters of Nun, the chaos before creation. He was the spark that ignited existence, the breath that stirred stillness into movement. This alone tells us something profound. Ra was not just one deity among many. He was the source, the light that awakens all other forms. In a very real sense, he is not simply a god. Ra is the remembrance of light itself. Why is this important for you, sitting here centuries later, listening to this story? Because what the ancients encoded in their myths was not entertainment, and not just religion. They were giving us a map, a mirror of the universe and of ourselves. When they spoke of Ra rising at dawn, traveling across the sky, and sinking into the underworld at dusk, they weren't merely describing the movement of the sun. They were describing the journey of consciousness. Every day, your inner light rises. Every day, it faces challenges. And every night, it enters the dark realms of the subconscious, where it must confront chaos before being reborn again. But, over time, this truth was forgotten. Humanity began to take these stories literally, or worse, dismiss them entirely. The wisdom of Kemet was buried under sand, destroyed by conquest, dismissed by later religions, and finally reduced to mythology. Yet in the land of Kemet, what we now call Egypt, temples were not just houses of worship. They were schools of light. The priests who served Ra were not simply religious leaders. They were scientists of the unseen. They studied how light affected matter, how sound shaped form, and how vibration influenced the soul. For them, Ra was not only an external sun, but the internal flame of awareness. They believed that when a person aligned with Ra, they became illuminated from within, capable of remembering their divine origin. The temples were designed with incredible precision. At certain times of year, the rays of the sun would pass through a chamber and illuminate a sacred symbol. These were not accidents. They were codes, reminders of how the cosmos itself is aligned with consciousness. One of the most mysterious aspects of Ra's power was the Eye of Ra. To most, it looks like a simple hieroglyph, but it was understood as a living force. The eye was the projection of Ra's will, a fiery energy that could both protect and destroy. Spiritually, it represented awakened perception, the ability to see beyond illusions. Have you ever had a moment when your intuition cut through confusion, when suddenly you just knew the truth? That is the Eye of Ra stirring within you. The priesthood also preserved stories of Ra's manifestations. Sometimes he was united with Atum, the primal creator. Other times with Horus, the falcon-eyed lord of the sky. In later dynasties, Ra merged with Amun to become Amun-Ra, the hidden and the revealed, the unseen and the shining. Each variation told a deeper story about consciousness itself, that the divine light can wear many masks, but its essence never changes. Sadly, as dynasties rose and fell, the spiritual science of Ra was overshadowed by politics, ritual, and superstition. What was once a living practice became rigid religion, yet the myths endure. Over centuries, the myth of Ra evolved. At first, he was supreme, the self-created light. Later, he merged with other gods. Then, as foreign rulers came, his temples were abandoned or repurposed. The Greeks, encountering Egyptian wisdom, reinterpreted it through their own philosophy. Later, as Christianity spread, the old gods were cast as pagan and false. Ra became nothing more than an idol of the past, and yet his essence did not disappear. You can find echoes of Ra everywhere. In the Christian idea of Christ as the light of the world, in the Hindu concept of Brahman, the ultimate reality, in the Tao of the East, the nameless source. The name changes, but the truth remains. There is a living light at the center of existence. Even in modern science, Ra's message returns. Photons are revealed as carriers of information. The sun is understood as the source of all life on Earth. Light is literally the foundation of our reality. What was once encoded in myth is now rediscovered in laboratories. But the Egyptians already knew. They knew that Ra was not a distant god demanding worship. Ra was the reminder that you are made of light. So, what does the story of Ra mean for you right now? It means that spirituality is not about believing in an old god or memorizing myths. It is about awakening to the same truth the ancients carried. You are the light you've been searching for. When you look at the sun, you are seeing only the outer symbol. The real sun is within you. Every breath, every heartbeat, every thought you have is carried on the same current of light that created the stars. Ra's journey reminds us of three eternal truths. You are self-born. Like Ra emerging from the waters of Nun, your consciousness is eternal. You were not created by the world. The world arises in you. You must face your apep. The serpent of fear and illusion will always rise, but it exists.